guys, welcome back to another episode of the List Night podcast. Once again, as always, joined by Andrew Simon and Thomas Albert. My name is Griffin. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other audio platform, or you're currently watching us on YouTube. Make sure you like, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you tell your friends about the podcast. I know we haven't actually gotten into the episode yet, but my assumption is that it's going to be at least a little bit entertaining. So you might as well just share it with everybody now. This week, we're going to be talking about pet peeves. We've been talking about this episode probably since we started the podcast, if not prior to that. This is one that we've wanted to do for a long time. We keep putting it off. We keep telling other people that they're going to be guests on this one. Clearly, we have decided not to go that route, so hopefully they don't end up being mad at us. Our order this week is going to be Andrew, and then Thomas, and then I'm going to go last. I think all of us probably have far more than 5 pet peeves that we could put together for this. You know, there's a lot of very annoying things that people do on a regular basis that probably irritate us, especially after being trapped inside for 2 years. But I guess we'll see how this one goes. Like I said, Andrew is going to go first. Andrew, was this a tough one to put together, or like was this another one of the lists that you did like 16 minutes before we started the pod, or have you had this building up for a long time?
No, I mean, this was a tough one to narrow down, but in terms of like all the lists we've done, this is the one I've wanted to do the longest. I have such a long list of pet peeves, and if someone wants to come on and be a guest, we could do a second pet peeves episode. I have no issue with that. I'm signing you two up for it.
Cool.
Like one of my pet peeves is the fact that we've talked about doing this for a year plus, and we haven't, and we're just now getting around to it. And sometimes like we'll text each other like any ideas for the upcoming episode, and I will always throw in pet peeves as part of a list of my ideas just to like subconsciously get it in both of your heads. Like I have this list ready.
What do you mean subconsciously get it into our heads? You're consciously putting it into our heads.
I guess very consciously.
Yeah. I mean, look, I will absolutely commit right now, regardless of how this goes. It could end up being an awful episode. I'm happy to do another episode of pet peeves because I'm positive that the 5 that are on my list are not the only 5 that I can, say really mean something to me. And I'm sure the same is true for Thomas.
I kind of struggled. Like there's plenty of things I don't like, but there's not many things I consider pet peeves. I just think I don't like a lot of things. But I do want to reiterate, like Griffin said, I want to apologize to those who wanted to be on and couldn't. Our boy Leo, Robbie P, Toby M, the big 3 guys. Next time we'll get you on.
Yeah.
All those guys that everyone knows we're really good friends with. Leo, Robbie P, and Toby M.
Toby M.
Is that Toby Maguire? Is that who?
I mean, come on, we're gonna have to bleep that out.
That's how he writes his name on our Patreon page. So
right, he just got done, with a supporting role in a Spider-Man movie, and he was like, you know what, I got to do next? The List Night podcast.
Spoilers.
I haven't seen it. I'm just aware that he was in it. You know why I'm aware I'm in it? Because somebody else spoiled it for me. So if you're listening to this or watching this and you haven't watched the most recent Spider-Man yet, my bad. That's on me.
Man,
I feel bad about that.
One of my pet peeves is how long it takes Andrew to start his list.
Well, no, what I will say, I'm about to dive in. Don't worry. But
are you going to dive in?
I'm about to dive in, but let me just say one other thing is that I think I could easily win this list if I just kept it super generic and just like, oh, my pet peeve is people biting their fingernails or whatever. But I had to tailor it a little bit to my I guess, and that's the beauty of pet peeves. It's like, I think they're better when it's something that specifically pisses you off that might not piss everyone off. You know what I mean?
Well, sure. I mean, to that, I'll say this. I don't like what List Night has become because it's not about getting the most votes.
This seems like a deeper conversation that should be done on air.
It's about putting the other participants down the funniest.
That's true. We had a long developed conversation not 2 weeks ago about where we see List Night going for the next year. And at no point did Thomas start a sentence with, I don't like what List Night has become. At no point did he raise these concerns that we're not bullying each other enough.
Right now.
Now that I'm a back-to-back winner, I realize that.
Oh my God.
What I realize is that it doesn't matter who wins. Because 1, I'm already a winner. 2, It's about putting you guys down.
We've all been back-to-back winners, and you didn't see Griffin and I talking like, I mean, we were
I don't know if we want to go back to the tape on that one. I'm pretty sure I was a pretty big douche about it.
Yeah. All right. Let's dive in. Let's finally dive in.
Yeah, let's leap right into it. Let's
hopscotch our way to
into it.
5.
Oh, hopscotch. Great.
Yeah. So my number 5 is a very specific one. It is when people, especially on video, will tell you like how to eat something the right way. I specifically think of like chicken wings. There's always these like videos on YouTube and shit, like weird videos of people being like, this is the way you eat your chicken wing, so you get all the meat or whatever. And it's like them taking a video of themselves, a grown-ass man, like explaining to the rest of the internet how their method for eating a chicken wing, which is not rocket science, is like foolproof and like gonna change the world. I specifically wrote down wings because that what made me think of this, but I think I'll just go like more broadly, like people that think they're like so special for like teaching the world how to eat something the right way, quote unquote, pisses me off.
I was pretty confused when you started. I get what you're saying. Yeah, don't tell me how to eat. I know how to eat. I put it in my mouth, I chew. Like,
That's one thing I know how to do.
Right.
I get it. So kind of like we're really specific.
This is a really specific one, and one that I didn't think of. I've definitely seen like the Instagram graphics of the memes or the GIFs or whatever of somebody like how you break it and you suck the meat right off the bone, which to me is not a way that I've ever seen a human being in real life eat a chicken wing. Maybe we're all doing it collectively wrong, but also if everyone is doing it the same way and has done it the same way for a long time and people like wings, clearly we don't need to fix something that isn't broken. And the same thing for, crabs or anything else like that.
You're a sheep.
Yeah, yes. But at the same time, like now that I've said that, I think maybe there's some things that we could probably like do better at. The way that I see I just said crabs, but I've seen people eat crabs like fucking idiots and just take forever to do it. It's not that difficult. It's really not. I'm not going to tell them that they're doing it the wrong way, but they're doing it a needlessly complex way.
Well, so for me, yes, like there are foods like crabs, which if you've never eaten one before, like you need a tutorial on how to get like the meat out or whatever. That's to me a different story. And I did struggle like putting this one on my final list because it also kind of pisses me off when like with wings, for example, people just leave half of it on the bone and they don't. And so I understand like wanting someone to be better at it, but it's just like this holier than thou like persona. It's mostly on the internet. It's not like people in person doing this shit. It's like when I see these videos, I'm just like, why are you posting this? It's like, so it's just strange to me.
I like the way you said that because yeah, if I'm looking up because I want someone to show me how to do it like that, that's fine. But when it's like you're doing it wrong, this is how you do it. It's like, no, I eat it however the fuck I want. But back to your bigger point, you shouldn't leave meat on the bones.
Right.
People should eat wings.
I agree with all these statements.
Fully.
I mean, here, I'll say this though. I'll say this to your point about leaving meat on the bones. Like, there's a point of diminishing returns where you're spending like you're eating it like a fucking bird and you're just trying to get like every little piece of meat off. Just move on to the next wing. You've gotten everything worthwhile off of it.
Counterpoint though, if you watch these videos that Andrew hates, you wouldn't have those little bits to pick at. So I'm kind of getting on the other side now.
So now we're circling back to, so Andrew's wrong and more people should eat meat the right way. Meat, chicken wings, crabs, whatever it may be.
Honestly, maybe I'll
eat your steak with your hands. I don't give a shit.
Maybe I'll just change the name of this pick to like chicken wing wrongdoings. Like I'll just okay.
It's not about slaughterhouses. It's not about the way that they grow up. It's about eating them incorrectly.
How
chicken wing wrongdoings.
All right, whatever. That was a weird one. And all right. My number 4 is my only other food related one. So I did get 2 food related.
So 2 out of 5. It's a pretty significant percentage.
Okay. All right. But my number 4, it has everything to do with like when you ask someone something as they put food in their mouth. So like that happens sometimes, like you're asking for them to give you information, and then they have to like put their finger up and go like, hold on, like I'm chewing or whatever. I hate every part of that interaction. I hate being the person who asked the question. I hate being the person who put the food in my mouth. Every part, like I just can't stand any of it, because if you're the person who put the food in your mouth, you're like, God damn it, now I gotta like chew more quickly than I normally want to, or like talk with my mouth open. It's like just awkward. And I hate being the other person too. Not so much because I feel like an asshole for asking something at the wrong question at the wrong time, but I just like hate the awkward silence while the person's like, hold on, like wait, like I just hate all of it. I hate all of it.
I feel like your anger should just be towards the person asking. The person eating didn't do any wrongdoing. But I will say,
if I'm
they're engaged in an act that they were already, I assume, previously doing. Like you interrupted them with your bullshit conversation.
Yeah, I know
I assume it's not important.
That logically makes sense, but this is why it's a pet peeve of mine. I'm not speaking with my head here. Like I'm not speaking logically. Even if I'm the person who asked the question, I'm still pissed off at the other person, even though you're right, they did nothing wrong.
And it's not the awkward silence that annoys me. It's the I have to now watch you chew.
Yes, it's all of it. It's all of it.
Here's a simple fix for you, at least on one side of it. Well, actually on both sides of it. If you're the person talking to somebody and you see that they're eating, fuck off. Wait until they're done eating to talk to them because they're eating. If you're the person being talked to and somebody tries to talk to you while you're eating, again, fuck off and walk away from them. Just turn your ass around and walk away. And eventually enough people will pick up the hint, either that you have like, you don't want to talk while you're eating, or you have severe social anxiety, and then they like won't invite you to things anymore. But that's a win in my book. That's a win.
Yeah. I mean, and the other piece of it is like, if I'm the person who asked the question and then they're like putting their finger up saying, hold on, like, I just want to leave. I don't care. I know I asked you something, but I don't care anymore. Just don't chew fast. Like I don't care.
I would just be like, find me later. Yeah, we'll talk later.
My request
I don't say anything about
let's get you on the podcast. We don't need to talk while we're here. Let's save it for the podcast.
Right.
My request is that you actually do that next time. Even if it's just like you and Sarah in your apartment and you ask her a question and she's chewing and does one of these, just get up and walk. Just walk.
Based on their relationship, I imagine they exclusively talk to each other with their mouths full of food. Andrew in particular.
Odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a hungry guy.
I don't even know what to write. Like mouthful conversations. I
don't know. I'll worry about the graphics later.
Andrew, I'm going to be honest with you. I got to pay a little kayfabe, with people back home that don't know that I renamed you on Zoom when we started this chat. Going into this, when I renamed you in this Zoom, Fat Andrew, I did not realize 2 out of your 5 picks were going to be food related. But I feel like I kind of called it a little bit.
This also isn't the fattest Andrew we've seen. We've seen fatter Andrew.
No, 2018. 2018, undoubtedly.
Oh, you guys are talking actually like physically. I thought you meant like figuratively.
Yeah, no, that was a tough year for you, man. I'm gonna be honest. If the Caps hadn't won, the Stanley Cup, we were gonna have a conversation with you about the way you were trending.
Okay. Good to know.
I was not gonna be part of that. I was gonna be busy eating.
Well, because you were doing your bird gang shit.
Griffin would be like, all right, Thomas, tell Andrew what you think. I'd be like,
yeah, you'd be waiting to talk though. You'd be waiting to talk.
I'd put more on that.
Point is, no more food related picks, and these top 3, I think you guys will all 2 of them you're gonna see coming, and one of them you're just all gonna agree with. Okay, so number 3. Number 3.
All right.
I don't know how often you guys use LinkedIn. I recently got a new job. Was on LinkedIn a good amount, and posts on LinkedIn piss me the fuck off, and I'll tell you why. People who post on LinkedIn, okay, if you're a recruiter recruiting people, that is one thing. That is your business, great. Most of the posts on LinkedIn that are not from people like that are people who are like leaders of companies that might not even be real companies. But
are they leaders? Are they leaders of their companies though, or are they douchey?
Exactly, they're douchey, and they'll post things like, my employee had open heart surgery yesterday and they asked for the rest of the day off, and being a good leader, I let them take the rest of the day off. Like, it's important to let your employees like have lives too, or like it's always like posts about like them doing the bare minimum of like human like of humanity and like expecting like praise for it, like
As someone
semi-related to the workday. Yeah,
As,
it's awful.
as someone who doesn't spend time on LinkedIn ever, tell me that was an exaggeration of a post and not real.
Absolutely not. It's absolutely not an exaggeration.
I don't know if I saw that one specifically, but there are many posts like in that same vein. Like it's like that all the time, where it's just like, what is the point of posting this? Like, first of all, this is the bare minimum you should be doing. Second of all, like, what are you looking to gain out of this besides likes?
Hey,
I guess.
my employee got hit by a car. Is in the
It's
hospital, but I'm gonna give them the rest of the day.
It's dopamine up my own ass bullshit. Like, in a world where Facebook and Twitter have objectively been used to like further dissent between different like populations and stuff, LinkedIn is still the worst piece of social media. It's awful. It's the worst. I hate it. I don't know if this is the one that you thought we were going to agree with you on or not, but I absolutely agree with you on it. I think the posts on it are awful. There are Twitter accounts, because Twitter fucks and it's awesome, that make fun of the worst kind of LinkedIn posts. And they're like some of my favorite Twitter accounts, because nothing posted. I mean, like, again, yeah, you're right. If you're using it as a recruiting tool, you're using it exactly as it's intended, as like a job board, that's fine. But if you're just blowing smoke up your own ass over something very normal that you did for either your colleagues or your employees, fuck yourself infinitely. Like, I don't like you.
Yeah. And like almost any of the posts that I see, I don't really care for. But even if it's something like, I'm excited to announce that I started a new position, great, like fine. I don't really care,
Sick.
but like fine. Like, but it's like those ones where it's like being braggadocious about like being a compassionate human being for like the most minor shit that you should be doing in all days of your life. Like, it's just so
my employees worked an 80-hour week, and I told them, you know what, guys, take off half of Christmas because I want to make sure you can see your families. But I didn't do that because I care about my business. It's like, what's happening in your brain? Who broke you?
I just want to add that this morning, one of my employees texted me that their kid was sick, so they couldn't come to work. And I said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh my, you know what?
I'm just, you know what?
If you updated your LinkedIn, you'd get 50,000 likes on that. Like, you
also have to mention that kid is going to grow up to be like a Genius Grant recipient or something like that.
That kid's going to end up working for me.
Oh, I'm glad he's
it improves
shooting for the moon
when you let people have lives. Yeah.
When you let people have lives, it turns into this weird slave culture, apparently, where everyone just goes to work for Thomas.
It's called retention, guys. All right, I gotta make sure I recruit every year.
Yeah, that's some CEO talk. I don't understand CEO talk.
I'm recruiting from within families.
Jesus. All right, yeah, Andrew, I agree with you on that one. That was a good one.
Number two.
I don't experience it, but I get it.
Number two.
When you learn to read, you'll understand it a little better.
My number two is one that's very specific to me, but you guys both know it. Everyone who knows me knows it at this point. You guys probably thought this was going to be my number one, but it's the daylight savings time shit. And by that I mostly mean people who confuse standard time with daylight time. Okay, so everyone, pardon me, Griffin, but I grew up and still live on the East Coast, so I'm mostly thinking EST versus EDT. Everyone always says, including like in formal business settings, whatever, like companies will make this mistake. They'll put EST, Eastern Standard Time, when you're in daylight savings time. So EST does not make sense during that time. You need to say either EDT or just ET. So that's my main issue. I know no one else cares about this. This is why it's my specific pet peeve. I understand nobody else gives a shit. But then also within this, and that's why I'm just calling it things to do with daylight savings time, because I also hate when the clocks change and people complain about it. Especially like losing an hour in the spring. Like this is about to it'll have already happened by the time this posts probably, but it's going to happen this upcoming weekend. And like people will lose their mind. People will be like, I can't believe we're losing an hour on a Saturday night when you're not doing anything the next day, and in exchange you get longer days all summer. It's a pretty good deal if you ask me, and people complain about it every year, so that also pisses me off.
I don't think about your list beforehand, but I will say when we were texting about what time to do this, I said 4 o'clock Eastern because I knew if I used the EDT or if I used the wrong one, that even if you didn't say anything, you would judge. And I felt like I wanted to seem like I knew what I was talking about. So I just said Eastern.
I've scolded so many people and I feel so isolated. Everyone hates me now because I've scolded people over this.
Not the only reason.
So, right.
So, you know what I've actually realized, and I'm glad you mentioned, you don't need to apologize to me, first of all, that you're referencing Eastern time in association with this. Obviously, I know you are. But I have actually legitimately noticed since being on Pacific time, people on Pacific time, and I've noticed it also with Mountain time and Central time, other people outside of the East Coast largely don't seem to make this mistake. I'm convinced that because I also don't see people make the mistake about using EDT at the wrong times. I'm convinced that people see EST and they think that stands for Eastern.
Oh yeah, 100%. I know. I used
absolutely convinced that's what it does. And
to.
honestly, to dodge the bullet entirely, I always just do ET, CT, MT, or PT. Like I don't even want to have a conversation about what time zone you're in. I don't know if I'm emailing somebody in Arizona because for half the year they're on one time and half the year they're on the other. Like it doesn't matter. But
yeah,
it's the dumbest thing. Like I don't get mad about it the way that you do, and I actually really enjoy how mad you get about it. To the point that like when other people fuck with you about it, I enjoy that. I get a lot out of that. It does something for me. But the confusion that people have about it, and like you said, when businesses get it wrong, I'm like, your clock tells you what's correct. Like if you just click the button for your clock, it'll tell you if it's daylight time or standard time. Like it's not hard.
But here's the thing. I didn't even know there was a difference for most of my life.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
No, but no, because like again, EST does seem like Eastern, but also you see ET. Like
right. Okay. Okay. Like you weren't seeing both of them listed and being like these are the same thing. You just didn't see
and it
broken down.
For TV shows, for commercials, it was never like 8 o'clock EST, 8 o'clock EDT. It was 8 o'clock Eastern. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'll say one thing about that. When I was a kid, I had no idea about like when I was like 6, I didn't understand why when you were watching and it was like kid shows that did this. I don't think anything else did it, but like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, WB Kids, whatever, they would all do this.
7 Central.
Exactly. They'd be 8/7 Central. And I was like, I don't understand what this means.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, do I tune in at both times? Like what's happening?
Yes.
Is it up for debate which time it's going to be at?
But Thomas, I don't fault you for this. In fact, I agree with you. This was never a pet peeve of mine till like more recent years, honestly.
I feel like the last 12 months.
Well, the one about like people complaining about losing an hour's sleep, I've always hated that. But but the EDT versus EST thing, I never cared about that much because I think like when we were growing up, like everyone misused it. Like people would say Eastern Standard Time all year long. They would just say that as a qualifier to the time zone that we were in, when that was incorrect. But like you didn't know otherwise because that's how everyone was taught. So it's just that's why it pisses me off. It's because like everyone's wrong about it and no one ever corrects it, even though I understand it's so pointless and stupid. Like everyone knows what time zone you're talking about, but
everyone's wrong about it because no one knows they're wrong. So I think they should just get rid of it and it should only be Eastern time.
Yeah, well, okay, you had me in the first half, but we'll see in the second half. I'm not gonna lie. But I will say as a wrap up on this whole whole one, no, not that whole episode, but on this whole pick, I will say my solution is just make daylight savings time permanent, make it year round. This is my plea to the government to do that. It should be permanent daylight savings time.
My understanding of it is that it's not really all that necessary anymore with like our understanding of global shipping schedules. And like it had a lot to do with farming culture, at the turn of the century. But like, just, make your own personal choices about what time you're going to be doing things. I don't know.
I feel like it affects your guys' work based on working with people in other areas. It affects my work based on sunlight. So
right.
I'm not too against it.
So why don't you just say for this portion of the year, our job starts at X time, and for this
We
portion
do.
of the year, right? Then you don't need to change the
right. You don't need to
time.
change the clocks. You work from the same time the sun, based on when the sun's in the sky.
Why don't you guys go tell my super rich members that that's how you want to do it, and you let me know how that works out.
Well, that
I'd
brings my-
happily tell them that. I don't work at your golf course, so they'd be like, "Who's this random douchebag yelling at us about tax the rich?"
That brings me to my number one pick: rich people. No, that's not it. But it would be.
That's way more than a pet peeve, because we're not those people. If we were those people, it would definitely not be something we were against. But
Jeff Bezos.
because we're not those people, I hate them.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right. I'm ranting too much at all these. This is the problem with doing pet peeves. Okay,
This
my
is
number
pet
one
peeves.
is the one I think you guys are both going to agree with. It's after a plane lands and finishes taxiing and people trying to rush off the plane, trying to get in front of one row ahead, trying to get the shit out of the overhead compartment before everyone else, and just move up a few rows, and then complain, they wonder why it's taking a while to get off the plane. It's just we have to go row by row, front to back. This isn't rocket science. Pisses me the fuck off, and it happens every single plane ride I've ever been on.
Knowing that you clap when planes land makes this a very confusing pick for you to make, because you're the one incentivizing them to do that.
I thought
they're getting up because you're clapping.
Before you finished, I had a C half written because I thought you were gonna say clapping plane lands. I 100 and all the percent agree with this, because plane etiquette brings out the absolute worst in people.
Yeah.
And everyone. And I especially assigned seated planes, if you're rushing to get on the plane, I hope you trip and fall out of the jetway. Why are you gonna rush to get on the plane to sit on it longer and then complain about sitting on it longer? And getting off of it, everyone has to get off. Everyone has to get off.
You're all going to the same place.
You're all getting off.
Yeah, and there's one way off. And
the only time that I would ever push back on it is if somebody says to people ahead of time, they're at the back of the plane, they're like, I have a connection, my first plane was delayed, rather than having an hour to make my next one, now I have 15 minutes. I understand that. It sucks. It's unfortunate for everyone, because it's chances are you're not going to make it. But I get that you have a time commitment you have to make. But I've sat next to so many people, and I was on cross-country flights last week where I complained about this to Julie, and I've complained to other people about it, and I've heard other people complain about it. Everyone seems to complain about people doing this. Everyone is aware that it's a complaint, and yet maybe it's the same portion of the population that constantly does it. They do it. All they do is make it take longer and be a bitch of a process.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'll add that I hate even more, and I do hate those people too, I would probably put it above a pet peeve. I straight up loathe them, is the people that shove, you're getting into the aisle to get off because it has now reached you, and people will shove through you, basically pushing you back into your seat. It's we're going to get to you in not even 15 seconds. Yeah. I'm already in the aisle. All I got to do is get my bag down. How could this 15 seconds affect your life so much?
Right, exactly. And
all you have to do is be polite.
In that vein, a good thing about an aisle seat is that if someone next to you is one of those people trying to get up early, I just fucking sit there. I just sit there.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time.
I'm just gonna sit there with a smirk on my face as they struggle and they want to get out sooner, and I'm just just wait till it's
just
my
shithead.
And then
shithead behavior. I love it.
I will stand in the aisle to block the people rushing behind me so the people in front of me can get out.
Yeah. That's a good Samaritan right there.
Someone told me a story, and I wasn't even on this plane, and it pissed me off, that the plane was didn't have a jetway, so they landed and were sitting there for a long time. And they came on the speaker with hey, we have 8 passengers who their flight is waiting 10 minutes for them. Can we please let them off first? And then more than 10 people were like, that's me. That's me.
Oh my God. Jesus fucking Christ.
I wasn't on the plane. I was so angry.
When people talk about things like the Stanford prison experiment and how quickly people turn against each other when put into these group collectives.
Yeah.
And then I'm on an airplane. I'm yeah, I get that. This all makes sense to me.
It makes sense.
hate 80% of the people on this right now. I don't know what's happening with 15%, and maybe 5% of them are cool.
Yeah. I'm this. Yeah, good pick.
Andrew, I really wanted to bully you more, but this is a pretty good list.
I'm
these are good pet. I'm maybe visibly. I don't know if you're watching the pod right now. I think I'm visibly angry about your.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm glad you guys are happy with it because I'm fucking furious right now.
Yeah, this has gotten my like heartbeat up.
This is the thing about pet peeves though. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna have a list where someone's gonna be like, actually, like, that's a cool thing to do.
You know what I really like? People that do chew with their mouth open. I like to know what they're eating.
All right, let's give my recap here. My number 5 is people who like to brag about the right way to eat things, specifically chicken wings.
It's so specific.
My number 4 is the whole interaction of asking someone something just as they put food in their mouth and the awkwardness that follows that. My number 3 is annoying ass posts on LinkedIn, specifically about being a semi-decent good person and expecting praise for it. My number 2 is my issues with people in daylight savings time, specifically messing up EST and EDT, among other things. And my number 1 is the people who try to rush off airplanes as soon as they land and finish taxiing.
I feel like you could update number 3 to just be people who use LinkedIn as a social media site instead of a recruiting resource. Like, use it for what it's for. Like, I don't know. I say that, and Venmo is my favorite social media site, so clearly things are wrong in my brain anyways.
Yeah, you're one of those.
So, I am one. You're all
Venmo's awesome.
I'm not one of those.
You write literal essays to people with your Venmo.
But I don't look at other people's Venmos.
Oh, I don't like other people's stuff. I just like my own stuff. I try and bring a witticism to my Venmos that I don't bring to this podcast.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, Tommy. That was a really good first list. So we're probably going to disappoint in comparison.
I'll be honest, some of mine don't bring out the fire in me, like rushing off a plane. Like, I didn't think about that, but like there's a flame lit right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm hot.
I'm also hot.
We're both red in the face.
That's just how you look.
But I'm going to start with I might call it a fan favorite because other than Griffin, I think it pisses absolutely everyone off.
This is about driving.
The basic use of a blinker of your turn signal. It is honestly the easiest part of driving. And it's like fundamental to learning how to drive. It's fundamental for communication. And yet it feels like more than half the people don't use it. And it infuriates me to no end. That's it.
I mean, I agree with this. And right off the bat, I feel like you're going to win because this is what I was saying at the beginning. is like I could have picked like these more generic ones, and I think
you think Thomas is going to three-peat?
But I had
season 2 is all about Tommy Two Shirts. Tommy Two Shirts. We should have known.
Tommy Three.
I got ended it too.
But yeah, no, this is a classic. Like it pisses me off, especially when people are like drifting over into the next lane and they're like, are you going over? Like, what is happening? Like, oh my god.
So
I
know you said this isn't going to bother me, like, obviously because I can't drive, which I understand. Let me tell you, and maybe I just haven't been in the car with you enough. This bothers me a huge amount. It infuriates me. For just a general like decency reason, like, you know, if everyone obeys the rules of the road within reason and like makes these little efforts to follow the rules, everyone will get everywhere much more easily. But also from a safety perspective, I spend a lot of time as a passenger. I do not need to be in traction in the hospital because some dumbass didn't put their blinker on and sideswiped my driver, which she's in the other room. She'd probably be pretty frustrated that I said driver. I mean any driver. I don't just mean Julia. I mean like an Uber driver.
You're the one who brought her up.
Right. But I know it's going to come. Look, a week from now or 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, when she and I are watching this episode back, I want to specify I don't just mean her so that she doesn't get mad at me. Wonderful supportive partner, and I love her so much. Any driver. And also, like, specifically when I'm in the car with her, we often have our dog in the car, and like and LA traffic is insane. You have people absolutely not putting their blinkers on, just veering all over the place. Fuck them. They're the worst. It's the simplest thing to do. Even I could do it. And I'm
Even you could
a legitimate idiot.
Here's the thing. If people can't walk off of a plane by merging in an aisle, what makes me think they can use turn signal to merge in anything on the road?
Then they shouldn't be allowed to drive.
Agreed.
I think the lesson here is we got to stop expecting anything from people.
Anything
They're going to disappoint us.
It's just insane how much other people need to learn more from us, including the guy that doesn't drive. I will teach some of you how to drive. It'll be just based on theory, not practice. But, we have generals that win wars that way.
Sounds like a community class. Like not community college class, but a class from the show Community.
Got it. Right, right. Much like sailing on dry land in Colorado.
Exactly.
Right.
Driving theory.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
All right. So number 4, this one's personal. It's something I'm currently experiencing on a daily basis. I share a bathroom with a roommate. They shut the door no matter what. Like they leave the bathroom and they shut the door.
Oh, so you don't know if someone's in there.
So you never know if someone's in the bathroom.
Not only do I not know if someone's in there, there's not great ventilation in there. So if you stank it up, I get it. You try to keep it in there.
It just stays in there.
You shouldn't keep it in there. That's the biggest mistake you can make.
But also, where it's super humid here, mold is a thing.
Right.
So if you take a shower and then you shut the door, I walk in there 30 minutes later, it's still a sauna. Leave the door open, let air flow through. Let me know if anyone's in there. Let me know. I need to know.
No, it's just scream it out loud so that it gets through the walls.
Honestly, he might hear me.
Does he watch your podcast?
No.
That's a failure on your part to market us appropriately. But outside of that, I think this is the episode you got to get him on. Do they know you have a podcast? Or do they think that you're talking to yourself all the time?
They might think I'm talking to myself.
Cool. No doubt.
It makes no sense to me. What are you trying to keep in there? What are you trying to keep in there?
Their shame. It's their shame. People are ashamed of what they do in the bathroom and they don't want you to be aware of it. I agree with you. Like you don't even have to open it that much. Crack it. If you crack it, I'm aware that you're not in there.
Yeah.
I can see that the light's not on.
Yeah, you made some good points. I at first when you said it, I thought you just meant because you have no idea if someone's in there or not, and like that does piss me off pretty regularly.
Part of it.
Yeah, like it's always tough, like in a public bathroom where it's just like a single toilet or whatever, like one person at a time, like, and you don't know if someone's in there. It's always difficult. But same thing at your house, like, but yeah, that's annoying.
Well, here's the other thing. It's your home. If you're going to stink anything up, it's going to be here.
Yeah. One little thing that I'll say as well that bothers me personally, it might bother you guys too, I'm not sure, is like Andrew mentioned, when you have the single public toilets, and maybe it's like a divided bathroom or whatever, somebody goes in there, they come out, they leave the light on, and it's not an auto light, and then they close the door behind them.
Yeah.
And so you don't know if someone, like, you don't see them come out of there. You don't know if someone's still in there. You knock. Sometimes people are very, anxious about responding when somebody knocks on the door. Then you start trying to fiddle with the knob. Like you do the slight little knob fiddle to see if it's locked. Yeah. Like if you're not in there and it's not an auto light, turn it off.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
Good pick. This is another one, much like some of Andrew's, that I never would have thought of.
This next one is I don't think there's anyone who will ever disagree with this, and yet there are so many people who do it, and I notice it the last couple times I've been home to Maryland at my parents, walk around the neighborhood. Pick up after your dog. It is one of the basic things you're supposed to do for a animal you're taking care of. You pick up after your dog because no one wants to step in it. It's not good for other dogs to be sniffing and maybe eating it. Like just pick it up. Just like, don't get a dog if you can't pick up poop. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
As a dog owner in a place that you would think is fairly dog friendly, just based on, you know, climate and the area and like the demographics and everything like that. The reason that it's not dog friendly is primarily because some people don't, small percentage of people, I imagine, don't pick up after their dogs, and it ruins it for everyone. And it ruins it for the dogs, it ruins it for the people, it ruins it for the people whose property is getting fucked up, it ruins it for store owners who have smush shit in front of their buildings. Like, it's the simplest thing you can do. And if you don't, you know, you ran out of bags or you forgot a bag or whatever, if you're in a reasonably populated area, someone is going to have a bag. And guess what? If they don't, fucking go home, get a bag, go on back and pick it up. It's your dog. Pick up their shit.
Yeah.
I'm hot. Oh, I'm so hot this episode.
Yeah. I mean, this
This is a
another
hot
one.
episode.
This is another one like the blinkers, where it's just like, it's such a fucking simple thing, and like it's so
Simple.
necessary, and just fucking do it. Like, just do it. It's not like, you're not like, what the people that don't do them, like, do they think like they got out of like doing a chore, and like yes, like what? And it disheartens me greatly that in the neighborhood where our parents live, this is apparently an ongoing issue.
Oh, dude,
Disheartens me
it's
greatly.
it was never so bad. And my parents say that there's a lot of dogs in the neighborhood now, like a lot of dogs. But like, you walk around and it's everywhere. And for anyone who says it's fertilizer, no, that's not how it works. That's not how that works. It's just, that's not how it works. Yeah, this gets me hot because I have dog bags everywhere.
Yeah. You're a responsible dog owner.
Right. It just, I mean, like, even if you've got like most leashes at this time come with the thing on them that'll hold dog bags, tie one around your leash so you've always got a backup. It'll be there when you need it. And then if you use it, replace the bags, and you're like,
yeah.
I'm hot.
Yeah. This is a hot episode. This is
a hot episode. Yeah. Whatever fans we've
Too
built
hot
over
for
the past
TV.
year and a half, we're going to lose them because they're like, we didn't sign up for just rage.
This is when I'm at my best. Number 2, before COVID. We'll go before
I
COVID
hated it.
because
The pre-pandemic
you get it.
sucked.
You get it. Because now there's obvious reasons, but I'm going specifically when you're in line, but it's personal space. It's personal space. If we're in line at the grocery store, if you're not blocking the entire aisle, there is no reason for you to be up my ass. There's no reason for me to be worried about turning around and hitting you. I've never been in a line where I'm like, I need to be closer to the person in front of me.
But then how are they going to see what's inside of your cart, or vice versa? Like, how are you going to be able to get super up in their business if they're not basically inside of you?
If you're behind me and I'm not sure if it's an item or your penis touching me, we have a problem.
So let's say hypothetically it's not an item and it's the other thing you said.
I'm not going to know because I'm too afraid to turn around.
Right, because there's the fear of having the interaction with that person.
If I turn around and it's an automatic Eskimo kiss, you're too close. You're too close.
I've never heard the sentence "automatic Eskimo kiss" or the
I don't
phrase.
think it's ever been said.
I think it's a
said those
unique
3
term.
words in that order. Yeah. How are they supposed to like smell your cologne and deodorant?
You're
and decide
not.
If they also want to
You're
get
not.
that.
If I see you
not.
texting on your phone and you're in front of me, I want to read that text. How are you going to get mad at me for grinding on you a little bit so I can see what's going on with you and your boys in the group chat? Like, that's not on me. That's on you. Have a bigger font size.
If there's no Nelly or Neo playing, we're not grinding. All right.
Two specific artists. All right. I'm glad that you really put that in a box.
I know you expected us to be on board, but Griffin and I are just renowned people who get way too close to people.
Let me reframe it. Let me reframe it. When you're getting off of a plane and the person behind you is all on your business.
If
someone's not filing a written grievance against me when we leave a Giant, then I haven't had a good time at Giant.
I'll let Griffin do that. In all seriousness, this is a good pick, and I mean, I understand why you put why you said pre-COVID, but I mean same thing after COVID, if not more, actually more. But I understand you're not talking specifically about germs per se. It's just a matter of like understanding personal space. But yeah,
it's a factor.
Yeah, I think I would say, and I like that you did say before COVID, post COVID, or during COVID, it's not a pet peeve. It's a basic human interaction that you're fucking up to an unbelievable degree if you're inside of somebody.
I have another one though. If I don't know if the dandruff on my shoulder is mine or yours, you're too close. You're too close.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
So they're
let's add it to that one.
In this situation, they're dandruffing forward. They
are a great look for you.
Yeah. Maybe they're just trying to get up closer to you to be like, hey man, here's some Head and Shoulders. I got a 2-for-1. I'm gonna help you out.
But they whisper it to you because they're so close.
Well, of course they're gonna whisper it to you. Otherwise, everyone else is gonna know about your dandruff problem. And also the fact that you're sharing 2-for-1s with,
I'm just saying,
your favorite customer at time. Yeah, a stranger at the time, a friend in the future.
Who here hasn't fallen in love in the line of a grocery store? I mean, come on. The tale is
right. I mean, we're people. Of course, we're going to do that. We're human. Where are we, dancer?
You guys are my pet peeves. Nice.
I get that.
All right, number one. I, for the last 6.5, 7 years, have done a lot of research. Not even research, a lot of testing.
Stop the steal.
He just muted himself though. A lot of testing because I wanted to avoid this problem at all costs. Wet socks. I get a different pair of waterproof shoes every year, probably 2 pairs a year, to try to fight this because I despise wet socks with a burning passion. They feel gross and I hate them.
How do you really feel?
You
tell those.
It's a pet peeve.
These don't seem like I'm gonna say these are like transcending past pet peeves, and they're now things that like
I don't like
are going to shorten your lifespan because of how much damage they're doing to your heart.
Okay, I'll reword it. Waterproof shoes that aren't waterproof.
Right. Okay. All right. The dishonesty of being waterproof.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm picking up what you're putting
wet
down.
socks. Wet socks suck. I'd rather my foot be wet than my foot be in a wet sock.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm sure you deal with this way more than me on a daily, weekly basis.
You saying because I have wet socks all the time? Screw you, man.
Because people know you to be a wet guy.
Better than me.
Because you clearly don't know how to buy shoes. But no, this
yeah, right. You should only have to go through this one time, and then it should be a fixed problem.
I remember my freshman year of college. I had to walk like all the way across campus on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it seemed like it rained every fucking Tuesday and Thursday that semester. And I always ended up in class with wet socks. And it made me upset. And I should have started.
You're clearly traumatized.
Should have gone to school in Arizona.
You're clearly traumatized.
Yeah, I couldn't focus. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Yeah,
when we do our episode about our traumas, that's going to be on your list.
Oh, God.
This is an episode about our traumas. These are all very much pulled from our lives.
These are ongoing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. I can say I don't think about it as much. Although back when I was doing tree work, this came up a lot. Undoubtedly, I would rather be doing almost anything else rather than having wet socks and having to stick with that.
Sorry, I have a bad connection right now.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I paused the recording. I can hear you.
Okay. Yep. It just said your connection.
In the recording. Okay. 3, 2, 1. We're going again.
Yeah, wet socks suck.
They're awful. I can't stand them. They're the Thomas Albert of fashion choices.
Yeah, 1 out of 5 stars. Would not recommend.
I really wish you had said that when I froze and couldn't hear you. But
yeah. No, instead you did have to hear it direct from my mouth. A little bullying for you.
Okay, so number 5, people who don't use their turn signals while driving or while doing other things. If you have turn signals on your belt or something. Use them. I don't know. Number 4, public works too, but specifically like if you share a bathroom with someone, leave the door open so they know what's going on and so it's not gross in there. Number 3 is pick up after your dog. Just because it's their poo doesn't mean it's not your duty. Number 2.
I really thought you were gonna rhyme.
I hate
I can't think that fast though. Number 2.
You wrote it down.
No, not that part. That one.
Oh, okay. All right.
Off top of the dome.
Wow, off the dome.
Number 2 is personal space while specifically while standing in line somewhere. Like just give people their space. Unless it's absolutely necessary, like give people their space. Number 1, wet socks. More importantly, waterproof shoes that are not waterproof.
Yes.
My only pushback on your list, well, I guess this is a two-parter for me. I thought Andrew's got me more hot. I will say that. Andrew's got me more pissed off than yours did. My only real pushback on your list is that I feel like your number 1 could have been a number 5. Every other one for me personally, I don't do the same job you do. Every one of them was worse for me than that number 1 because it doesn't happen enough. But they're all great pet peeves. They all fucking suck, especially the dog one. That was probably of your list. That's my number 1.
Yeah, my number 1 is something nobody likes, but yeah, I mean it's something that I deal with.
Yeah.
Often.
Yeah, Griffin and I don't like lose sleep over it. You're unable to sleep, or
I spend a lot of time thinking about how wet Thomas's socks are, but
I
don't lose sleep over it. I don't lose sleep over it.
I have a corner in my room that's a drying rack only for socks. I don't.
It makes me really sad.
It seems like a real problem.
This seems like maybe it can't be raining that much, so go to a doctor. This sounds like it's something your body is like accelerating.
Are you like
at every place
to walk through?
Are you just a sweaty boy?
The last 3 or 4 places I worked at, I've kept socks at work and or in my car.
Here's a fix that you might not have thought about that I'm gonna impart it to you, and you do what you want with it.
Yeah.
Sandals. You just work in sandals. Prefer flip-flops so that you really have the whole beach vibe while you're on the golf course.
I do wear
Actually,
Crocs.
don't you work barefoot sometimes, don't you?
When people aren't around and I'm not on machinery.
But then he steps in the dog shit.
Then I step in the dog shit.
Well, then you got to wonder why they're walking their dogs on the course. That's a whole other thing.
In the summer, in the afternoon, you're fine with Crocs out there because there's no socks on. I don't care. Right. But in the morning, when you're dealing with machinery and whatnot, you should wear shoes. And even if it doesn't rain, there's a lot of dew in the rough.
Okay.
My feet are getting wet.
I'm just saying, you move to the Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, California, this is going to be much less of a problem for you. And considering it's your number 1 pet peeve, I think this is the best argument I've ever made for you moving to California. And I didn't even make it. You will not be dehydrated. You think we don't have water here?
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what I think.
Okay, well, I'm 80 yards away from the ocean. Do you have to desalinate it? Sure. But we're all willing to do that.
Oh, great. Now my socks can be wet with salt water.
Yeah, even worse.
All right. Yeah, good list. I think
socks, wet, salty socks.
Wet, salty socks? Yeah. Yeah. Then they're going to get you dehydrated. Okay. All right. Fair play. Fair play. Fair play. All right. I guess, Andrew, did you have any other pushback on his list or?
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't.
All right. Thomas, I'll tell you, I don't think you're going to go. I don't think you're going to three-peat. I don't think you've got the Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant in you. I think,
see, depending on the direction you're about to go, I think he'll get way more votes than me. Even though my list, like, I obviously like it way more, and by that I mean I hate it way more. I think his are generic enough that people are gonna be like, yeah, I understand what Thomas.
Bang bang.
When I think
generic,
of, but that's I don't think of Thomas when I think of generic. I think of you when I think of generic.
I think if people actually listen to the episode, then I'll get more votes. If people just like vote based on the Twitter poll or whatever, Thomas will get more votes.
So Thomas is going to get more votes. Good to know.
That's my inclination.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, Thomas gang.
Bang, bang, Thomas gang. Let's move on to my list. We don't
have time.
Oh, we're going to skip that? We're going to skip that this week? Cool. I'm just here to host.
For watching ladies and women and boys.
Ladies and women and boys. To all of our gentlemen listeners, who there's probably not that many of them, Andrew's not thanking you, just the ladies, the women, and the boys. Two of which are the same thing. Jesus Christ. All right, let's move on to my list. Number 5, we're just going to move right into it. Number 5 on my list, and this was a little bit like one of Andrew's. Number 5 for me is people who overshare on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Instagram, I guess less so, but usually if you're oversharing on Instagram, it's just like you're posting thirst traps. If that's how you make money,
which
whatever.
You're a fan of, so
which I am a fan of. I'm also a fan of posting my own thirst traps. They don't get a lot of likes, but you got to do what you got to do for the ego. Primarily, I'll say this is pretty Facebook focused. If you're over 10 years old, we'll say, and you're sharing memes about your sex life, you're posting things on your friends' walls about like,
I hope you're over 10.
Yeah, what? I hope you're over 10 if you're posting that.
Little kids think certain things are funny that aren't. Like if a little kid shares a meme that they think is funny, a 28-year-old shouldn't think that same meme is funny. Let's be real about that. If you're friends with all of your family members on Facebook, I don't want to see a meme about how many orgasms you gave to random girls over the week. Like, I don't care. They don't care. No one wants to see it. Stop sharing it. Andrew can probably think of a couple people that I'm talking to when I say this. We've got a group chat that we share some of these in. Stop doing it. We're not doing it because we think it's funny. We're doing it because we're embarrassed for you.
You guys have another group chat?
Yeah, it's Andrew and Sarah and I, and it's pretty focused.
Oh, I do know who you're talking about now.
Cool.
But
cool.
But actually, no, it's funny. The first person who came to my mind was an uncle of mine who posts all kinds of random shit, like stupid, inappropriate shit, just dumb stuff. Like
not just. I do want to say, not just like sexual shit. Don't talk about how fucked up you got. Don't talk way too much. Like, don't share "Let's Go Brandon" memes every day, on the hour, every hour. Like, it's not creative. It's not interesting. Stop oversharing to Facebook. No one cares that you think "fuck Joe Biden" is funnier if you say "Let's go Brandon." No one cares. Yeah,
but here's 2 pushbacks. One about that right there is they're not able to articulate and they're not creative. So this is the only way they know how to express themselves. I'm not defending how they communicate, but that's it.
With bad memes.
Yeah. My second pushback is that you said a 28-year-old shouldn't find the same memes funny as a 10-year-old. But I'll tell you this right now. When I was 10, I found farts funny. I'm 28 and I still find farts funny. So what are you gonna do about that? But in general, I agree.
As long as you agree. Generally, I'm fine with it. I'm good with it. As
someone who doesn't really share stuff on social media, and probably why, like, I should probably share it with a professional. There's certain things where it's like, why would you even want other people to see this? Talking about like sexual memes, like the only people I'd want to see that would be people in a group chat who would also find it funny. Why would I want to put this somewhere for the world to see?
Who is the content for is a big question. Who do you think is looking at this and is like, you know what? I'm glad this is part of my day.
I'm glad I have a group chat with some of my friends that I send stuff to.
Sorry, I was going to say, you could say the same thing about us when we post about List Night. Like, who do we?
Oh, absolutely. No one cares about it. No one cares about it. And to Thomas's point about his social media is almost exclusively List Night. The kid does not love social media. But you know what? That's us, and this is them. So fuck them.
So last question on
fuck them all.
It seems like you're more focused on like sharing memes. Do you also feel this way about people who just like write? I mean, and it's happened less than it used to, but like people that write like long posts like from their own thoughts like every day, or is it more just like sharing of shit?
That doesn't bother. It's the sharing long posts. Like, I think you're wasting your time, but I mean, that's social media in general. It's you interacting with yourself largely. That's fine. Like, if it's something that's like personal to you, or you're just like sharing your thoughts on something that happened, that's you. Maybe people will be interested in it. But sharing just like inane bullshit constantly to the point where it's your entire feed and people are like actively choosing to mute you or unfriend you. Like, if you're that type of poster, just maybe examine yourself a little
Dial
bit.
it back a bit.
Dial it back a lot of it.
Yeah.
Again, it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah. That's the big question. Why? And also, who's your audience?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, our audience or their audience?
Same answer. No, it's good. It's good. Man, we are just not confident in ourselves. That's my number 4 pet peeve. People that aren't confident. No, it's not. It's people's knees. Number 4 on my list, one that I'm sure we've all experienced, particularly in Ubers over the past, half decade, but also just generally, unprompted religious talk.
Oh.
If you start a conversation with me and one of the first topics you bring up is religion, particularly your religion, or even my religion, I'm not interested in you. Great that you have religion. I'm happy for you that you have that belief system. I hope that you actually follow the positive tenets of that religion, but I didn't ask. I don't want to know. I'm not interested in talking to you about it. And I can't get out of your car, Uber driver. So fucking stop asking me if I'm thinking about converting to Christianity. I'm not gonna. You're not gonna be the one that brings me to Christ.
1, they could be. 2, I would say this just in general in Ubers and Lyfts and shit. If I'm in a scenario where I physically cannot leave and you are forcing a conversation on me, religious or not, what makes you like, I'm not to sound all uppity, but like, I'm paying you to get me somewhere. I don't need you to force a conversation on me.
Yeah.
Like,
if I'm making an effort to talk to you, sure, we can have a conversation. And
I've had great conversations.
There are great conversations that you can have when you're in somebody's car or whatever. But if I'm very clearly not in the mood, or even if I am in the mood for a conversation, talk about basketball, talk about the weather, talk about fucking something that no one cares about, like a movie that came out recently. Don't talk to me about whatever God you're into. Just it's even worse than talking about politics with me.
Yeah, but basketball and weather, like, those are 2 of Jesus's favorite things. So like, they would relate back to Jesus.
Right. And I'm happy to talk about things that Jesus likes. I just don't want to talk about Jesus's or your thoughts on what Jesus thinks about me.
When it comes specifically to the Uber Lyft thing, Thomas, you made a good point. Like, it's borderline taking advantage of someone who's kind of trapped in your vehicle at that point.
Yeah,
100%.
And if you want to if you like you said, there's some conversations that are fine, and even if you feel so compelled to one time, if you have to, like, if you just must turn to someone and be like, hey, are you a Christian or whatever, and if you can tell from that moment they don't feel like talking about it, like, all 3 of us and every normal person in the world probably would act in that scenario, then drop it. Then don't continue. Don't keep nudging and trying to get into a deep conversation about it. That's
read the room.
Yeah, this is one that for me, it hasn't come up too often, but I know what you're talking about, and it has come up before, and it is annoying.
Yeah, I don't Uber and whatnot as much as you, like, consistently over the last couple of years, but so I've only had the religious like once or twice, but yeah, I've had the forced conversations where either I've just not been, I'm usually in the mood to talk because I'm like, hey, it's a 10-minute ride, I can talk to you for 10 minutes if you want to talk. Like, that's fine. You're doing me a service by driving me. I'll talk to you. Sure. But yeah, don't force. If I'm clearly not into the subject, and I'm just going, like, don't force a subject on me, especially something that could potentially be controversial and I disagree with.
If you see headphones in my ears, we're not having a conversation. Like, I will give you 5 stars. I will tip you appropriately. But what I am looking for in this journey is not a conversation. And this, obviously, like, I'm a rideshare, like, power user. Like, I'm prolific in how often I use Uber, or at least I was prior to the pandemic. So I see it probably more than a lot of people. But it's not just when you're on a rideshare app. It's really when you're anywhere, when you're checking out at somewhere, or if you're making new friends or whatever, you're in line somewhere, like, anywhere it happens, I'm not interested in it.
You know where this always happens? Church. I'm like, just give me the wine.
Give me the wine. Give me my cracker. Talk about how it's part of somebody's body, and let me get out of here.
That's a good point. When I'm in church waiting for my wine and the person behind me is putting their dandruff on my shoulder and they're trying to convert me, I'm like, hey man, like, what are we doing?
Hey man, back up 2 feet and we can have this conversation, and I'm happy to have it. But right now, you're bumping and grinding a little bit too much for the building that we're in.
Yeah, and use your
Jesus
fucking turn
is
signal.
watching. Okay.
All right. Number 3 on my list. This is one that you guys might not experience a lot, but I'm sure you probably see it online a lot, and I've definitely experienced it a good amount, especially in bars. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't say anti-Semitism is one of my pet peeves. I would say it's a passion.
It's one of mine.
It's one of yours. Okay,
it's a pet peeve of mine.
Anti-Semitism, not great, not awesome, not a fan of it. Not great for me personally. Number 3 on my list is people who refer to sports as sports ball, or just generally hate on the idea of like athletics as a whole. If you're so far up your own ass that you can't appreciate people being passionate about something that you're not passionate about, just don't conversate about it. Just don't talk about it. If you're at a sports bar, or you're at a Super Bowl party, or you're just hanging out with your buddies, or your significant other's buddies or something like that, and people are watching a basketball game or a football game or whatever, and they get excited about something that happens, or they get upset about something that happens, if your first thought is to shit on them for caring about it, you suck. You're a bad person. And you're the exact thing that so many people on the other side of things, whether it's comic books or being a big cinephile or being super into music or whatever, all the people that complain for years and years about being made fun of for being nerdy about those things, you're the exact same person, except the shoe's on the other foot. And rather than appreciating the fact that they're interested in something, you're taking the opportunity to be like, this is stupid, and I think it's stupid, and other people should think it's stupid. Just let people like what they like.
Yeah. I think so. It's shitting on people's likes. Like,
absolutely.
Just because you're not like, because that's the thing. Like, if you're like, yeah, go team, like go sports, that's fine. But yeah, if people are enjoying a game and you're like, ugh, why do you enjoy this? It's like, I don't know.
Right.
Why do you enjoy breathing? Like, stop it.
I don't
know.
So I thought about going general with this and just being like, let people like what they like. But yeah. I feel like I see it the most now with like anti-sports culture, because everyone's like, why do athletes get paid so much and EMTs don't? Well, there's hundreds of thousands of EMTs, and there's 450 people in the NBA. Like, it's
and the EMTs just don't bring in the fans and sell the jerseys. Like
they're not.
LeBron,
How many EMT jerseys have you guys been wearing? I've been wearing 0.
I mean, I don't wear jerseys often, but I can't remember the last time I saw an EMT jersey.
I can't.
Just took a weird anti-EMT turn that I wasn't expecting.
I don't like that we chose EMT as the one to go for either, because like
you brought it up.
I did bring it up. It is on me. I blame only myself for this.
Yeah, but this is a good one. I'm glad that you went more specific with it, and because that, to me, that's more like what a pet peeve is. It's like, it's something very specific, and
yeah,
and I get what you're saying about sports, and there's plenty of reason to like make fun of anyone. Like, I think of like the Lonely Island song, "We Like Sports." Like, it's clearly like making fun of like people who like sports, but it's done like it's just all in good fun.
It's tongue in cheek, like they're yeah.
Right. But like but you're right, the people that are just condescending about it, or just like almost like look down on other people for it. This is the same as my chicken wing pick. It's just like it's just get out of your ass,
Yeah.
The way I think of it, because like on the other side of sports, is like, but we'll call it like Marvel purists, like people who enjoy, and then so people who shit on people who enjoy the Marvel movies, but like don't dive into the universe anymore. Like, if people like the movie, let them like the movie. They don't have to then read the comic books. Just because you read the comic books and you know the story, and I read the comic books, I know the stories, but like, just because you don't doesn't mean you don't enjoy the movies the same amount, and I shouldn't shit on you for enjoying them.
Absolutely. I mean, you should be able to tell somebody, like, if say you're somebody who likes Marvel movies and likes the comics and likes the TV shows or whatever, if somebody says I only watch the movies, you can be like, hey, I think you would enjoy so-and-so's story if you wanted to check out a comic. But if you're like, you're not a real fan of this, then this is kind of different from the actual pick. But if you try and put somebody's fandom of something in a box and tell them what they are and what they're not, you can go fuck yourself.
Also, I hate the I'm a fan of this team. Name 5 players. Maybe I don't pay attention to who the fucking players are. Just let me like what I like.
Men, and this one specifically, men do to women.
Men to women all the time.
If some woman's like, I like the Lakers, I like LeBron James, somebody's like, name their bench unit.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Who the fuck cares?
Who cares? If she likes the Lakers, if she just likes LeBron James, and maybe before she was a Cavs and a Heat, like, who cares? She's telling you she likes something. You now have a common interest you can talk about. Why is your first inclination to be like, nah, you don't like it as much as I do?
That guy's getting divorced 3 times.
Even in the most extreme scenario, even if she only likes the color the Lakers wear, great, fucking awesome.
Purple and gold armor, it's pretty iconic. It's a pretty valid thing to like. Not for me, but you know.
Yeah, not you.
Yeah.
Green shirt.
They've got whites and they've got blacks. So let me specify. They've got white uniforms and they've got black uniforms.
They're a diverse team.
So after I said it, I felt bad about saying it because I heard it too. Okay, number 2 on my list. And this one I could see getting a lot of pushback from friends of mine, people that I'm very close with. People just generally that interrupt movies and TV shows to ask questions about where it's going to end up. I'm okay if you ask me a question like, where do I recognize that actor from? Or can you explain something that just happened? I missed part of it or whatever. Like, I'm okay with interruptions. Interruptions happen. There's no, like, especially in our very ADD culture where setting aside 2 hours, 2.5 hours or whatever to watch something is a very difficult thing to do. But if something happens 15 minutes into a movie, say 2 characters are having a conversation and you ask me, does that guy die later? Or is this foreshadowing for something that's going to happen? Or does this end here? I saw spoilers about it on the internet or anything like that. Watch the movie. You're going to get there. Like,
watch the movie,
especially if I haven't seen it yet either, because sure, I can make like an inference about what's going to happen, but I'm just guessing. I don't know what's going to happen. So we're both going to get to that destination at the same time. And it's going to be enjoyable if you have these internal thoughts about it and you're not interrupting the actual process of enjoying it to ask questions that will be answered. And if they're not answered, we can talk about it after the fact. There's no need to talk about it 45 minutes in.
I wholeheartedly agree. And like, I changed my mindset because we used to give reoccurring guest Matt a lot of shit for talking during movies. But when I go to the movies with like my friends, like I make comments because I'm constantly looking for validation and I want people to laugh. So I make comments all the time. But yeah, I've accepted, like you said,
there's a time and a place also.
Interruptions happen. You have questions about, who is that, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, if you ask questions that there's no way for me to know the answer because I'm experiencing it with you, why are you asking?
Yeah, my thing with this is like, don't get on the ride if you don't want to go for the ride. Like, if you just want to be the person who knows every spoiler ever, just go to Wikipedia, read the synopsis, like, and don't watch movies. But if like the whole point of watching the movie is to like go through it all, like, and discover what's going to happen together, like, especially if you're going with someone. So,
and if you know I've watched it before and I'm choosing to rewatch something with you, it's because I want to spend the time like going through this journey again with you. And this isn't, I want to be very clear, this isn't about a specific person. It's not about Matt. It's not about
your driver,
Julia. It's not about any of my family members. It's not about anyone in particular, but everyone's experienced this from a lot of different people, especially as people have been like more consumed by their phones and things like that. And I'm a guy that's consumed by his phone. But if you're watching something with somebody, appreciate or listening to something with somebody or whatever it is that you're doing, just appreciate the journey. And when you get to the end, then you can talk about it. Like it's not that much of a time commitment to just wait till the end.
Yeah, you could wait to the end and then be like, and you could have not retained anything and like ask a million questions and be like, I don't understand anything. You need to explain it all to me. Great, fine, but like get to the end. At least give it a try.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say this too. When it's in a movie theater, like again, I'll make comments and like whatnot, but like especially back in the old days, pre-pandemic, movie theaters had other people in there. So you asking me a question also deserves the 5 people behind us and the 5 people in front of us. Like, it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just be, and that's like I said earlier, be aware of your surroundings. Like we used to do Lord of the Rings rewatches in my garage with a bunch of our friends, and it would take us 8 hours to get through a 3-hour movie because we would make so many jokes and we would rewind it and we would pause it and we would be doing all these other things while we were watching it. That's fun. It's a fun process. It's a movie that all of us have seen before. You know, you're spending the time to enjoy it with people so you can make digs at the characters and make up your own scenarios and do all that shit. That's its own thing where everyone is collectively in agreement about watching it that way.
Yeah.
If you're watching something to get through it for the first time and you don't know where it's going to end up, don't ask me. If you don't like it, we can turn it off. But if you do like it, you'll get there.
You know, if you want to ask me, what do you think's going to happen, and we can pause it, sure. But don't ask me.
We can have that conversation.
What is going to happen?
Yeah.
Because 1, I don't fucking know, or 2, why would I spoil it?
If I do know, if I have seen it before, the absolute last thing I want to do is ruin that journey for you. Yeah. Because then you're going to spend the entire time waiting for an end goal of something that I've already told you.
Yeah.
All right. This one, oh man, my own list is getting me hot. I feel like I'm going to need to take a walk when we're done with this. Number 1 on my list, being confidently, adamantly wrong about something and refusing to change your view on it. And let me say, this is my number 1. I've done this. I've done this more than I think everyone's done this, but I've definitely done this. I've fought on something for a significant amount of time, knowing that I was wrong the entire time because I didn't want to admit that I was wrong. And, you know, that's, you know, work that I got to do on myself and other people do as well. But if you have a conversation with somebody, whether it's on Twitter or in person or whatever, and you say something and they have a rebuttal for that thing that is a different perspective on it, and their perspective is objectively correct. Like if you say 2 + 2 = 6 and they say, no, actually it's 4. And then they prove to you that it's 4. And you're still like, no, I know it's 6. What are you doing? Like, you're not interacting with people. You're just there to say what you're going to say. You're not having conversations. You're just talking at somebody and you're waiting for your turn to go again.
Yeah, you're not stubborn. You're just an asshole.
Me or this person that I made up
in general. Yeah.
Gotcha. But also
if no, in that scenario, because I fucking hate being wrong, and I'll tell you I know something even if I don't know it.
You and I have done this to each other.
True. But yeah, if I say something and you say no, it's this, and you prove to me it's that, how can I sit here and tell you, like, or other way around, like, so I'm not the guy. But yeah, it's like, if you are proven wrong, you're wrong. Like, it's okay to be wrong. Everyone is wrong. Everyone is wrong. Except me.
Yeah.
Well, except for Thomas. Thomas has never been wrong.
I get this pick. I can't relate at all. Never been wrong. Never been wrong. So
but other people have been wrong.
But other people have been wrong to you and haven't accepted it.
Other people.
Other people.
Oh my God. Yes, this is quite annoying. It's. I mean, I kind of argue this is like the most generic one out of all of our picks. It's kind of just like people who are douchebags, essentially. Like, that's really what you're saying. Or people who just don't listen, people that won't learn from their mistakes, from being wrong. Like, all these things are kind of, to me, like all wrapped into it. But yeah, people
that can't even perceive that they are making a mistake. Like they won't even acknowledge, and they might be doing it just because they don't want to admit it, or they might legitimately believe that everyone else is wrong. Like flat earthers. What are we doing, guys? Come on. You're confidently incorrect. Everyone knows you're confidently incorrect, but you're so confident about it to the point where you think literal billions of people are wrong about this thing.
Yes,
and
they're wrong, but I'm pretty sure in our last episode we were saying we were a flat Earth podcast. I remember that happening. So I just want to clarify what demographic are we going for? Idiots or not idiots?
Well,
we're playing both sides. That way we come out on top.
Okay.
This episode parentheses will be like round Earth. The other one parentheses is flat Earth.
Yeah, like we're gonna post on one of the places that we post episodes. We're gonna put like whatever our demographics are. We're gonna post one that is like, "Yo, flat Earth, fuck yeah, that shit is a flat plane." And then the other one is gonna be like, "Dude, it's a globe. Like, come on, it's spherical." So there's stuff to it.
And this isn't about like opinions. This is when there are facts. Like there is indisputable facts. There is, did I say science, research? No, but like you said, like if I were to tell you that Robert Pattinson never played Batman, and you're like, no, he played, and I'm like, no, not Batman, no. Like the
Hashtag not my Batman.
Like what's the point? Like what battle are you trying to win when there are actual physical, real, tangible facts?
What's going on with you when other people aren't around that this is the hill you want to die on?
I'm sorry you didn't get hugged as a kid. Get over it.
Or you were hugged too much as a kid. You got to find an appropriate middle ground for your kids, people. Don't blow too much smoke up their ass, but also like, don't beat them or
puff,
whatever.
Puff.
Or your parents never bought you little hugs to the drinks enough.
My parents definitely never bought those. I don't know what that means.
I might need to
we were a Capri Sun household.
Capri Sun's great.
I mean, you could have both.
I'll never say a bad word about Capri Sun.
I don't expect you to. I don't think anyone would say a bad word about Capri Sun. Okay, well, Thomas's opinion's wrong.
Why wouldn't you reinforce the back?
Oh, so you can't puncture all the way through?
Yeah.
I think so they could sell more of them. I think they wanted kids to puncture all the way through because they were like, that's 2 for 1.
But I mean, we can all agree Kool-Aid Jammers was a game changer when the back was clear.
Absolutely.
Game changer.
They're also much like a clear Game Boy or a clear N64. They were just cooler.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we had something to end this on a positive note because just seething from all of these picks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now I'm thinking about Kool-Aid Jammers and N64. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
See, I'm actually pretty sad that I'm not going to be able to capture those days.
I mean, don't let your dreams be dreams. Let me give my recap and then we'll get out of here. Number 5, people that overshare on social media. Number 4, unprompted religious talk. Number 3, people who refer to sports as sports ball and generally just don't like when people like things. Number 2, interrupting movies and TV to ask questions about literal plot points that haven't happened yet. And number 1, being confidently, adamantly wrong about things.
It sounds like your pet peeve is just when people are wrong.
My pet peeve is people that, generally just don't accept that everything I say is right. It's not that they're wrong. It's that they don't recognize that I'm right.
I
don't like when people are confident, but they're wrong.
Your pick is basically just us. Like that's the point of this podcast. You're saying your biggest pet peeve is myself.
It's us.
I don't think that that's a hot take. I think people have at this point, 24. This is our Kobe episode. I think 24 episodes in, 23 or 24.
Always number 8 to me.
Kobe. I think people have realized that there's really not a lot of like friendship here. There's like, we were the 3 people that wanted to do this and we didn't have better options.
I see. I think it's more of like we're stuck. Like
that's also true. We are in a rut.
It's not even like no more options. It's just like at this point, if we stop being friends, it's like
number 1 on my list could have been making new friends. I don't know if that qualifies as a pet peeve though, or if it's just a sad thing about me.
Is that a pet peeve or like just like an impossible task?
It's more like a failure of me as a person.
I think I would really enjoy making new friends. Like from what I've heard,
sounds great.
From what I've heard, it sounds great.
Andrew, if you enjoyed it, don't you think we would have tried it by now?
I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, just collectively. Well, I'm glad that we went to a high note so that we could then just dip back to a really sad note.
You got to stick along for the ride.
Yeah, right. A lot of high highs and a lot of low lows because we are emotionally crippled and we probably have mental illnesses. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of the List Night Podcast. Like I said, Kobe episode, go dedicate money to his charity or something. I assume he has a charity. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, I think Facebook. We're on Facebook. We will not overshare too much on social media, so don't worry too much about that. Make sure if you're watching us on YouTube right now, you click that like button, you leave a comment below about which list you think was your favorite or your own personal pet peeves. And if you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button so that you stay in the loop whenever we drop a new episode. And if you're listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, just click that little follow button on your screen. Same reason. You'll know when we're dropping new stuff and you'll be able to check it out. Also, if you like the pod, make sure you rate and review. We'll be back soon. Next episode sometime.
We can't commit to anything.
We like to release every 7 to 21 days is kind of where we're at these days.
Pet peeve is commitment. That's
yeah. If we were talking about things that we really just don't understand, I think that would be on all of our lists.
Things I wish I was good at.
Yeah. God.
Okay.
We desperately need to go to therapy.
Gentlemen, girls, women, boys, ladies.
Gentlemen, girls, women, and boys. Thanks for tuning in to the List Night Podcast.